But with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Heart health is more than just the physical well-being. It represents like a foundation of vitality, resilience, and the ability to live fully.
Your heart carries stories of resilience, love, and survival. Caring for your heart means honoring yourself and the generations before and after you. It means protecting your ability to gather, laugh, and be present. Learn more about your heart health at hennepincounty.gov/heart-beats, because your story matters and your heart beats for generations. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovated Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. An air quality alert remains in effect. Tonight, clear with a low of 72, then Friday, hot sunshine with a high of 95. Treat yourself to the finest French macarons around at Nicolette's Macarons. Nicolette's is located off Highway 169 at 36th Avenue along the Plymouth-New Hope City line. Visit the store or order your box online at nicolettesmacarons.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings that wounded me.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, Kadagi to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot. Hey, we discuss local, national, Native news and events, and as you know, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues. I am really excited to have Tom Weber stop in for a quick segment and give us a quick update. Tom, you're an author. You also were one of my idols. I knew you first when you were working on a radio station, local radio station here, and just the great job you do. And now I know you for many, many other things, but thanks a lot. You're stopping by, and love to talk about the Many Over the Money rally. And I'm really excited, and we're going to be out there, Native Roots Radio, doing some stuff too. Thanks, Tom, for stopping in.
Well, I'm so glad to be here, Robert. Thank you for having me back. It's good to see you again. Just to give away the end of the story for folks who don't know, I'm married to Peggy Flanagan, who is our lieutenant governor running for the U.S. Senate. Hey, there you go. running to be. That's great. I'm glad you have that on the ready to go. Running to become the first Native American woman ever in the U.S. Senate. In the 250-year history of this country, there's never been a Native American woman in the Senate. And Peggy will say, well, it's not that I'm running for history, but it is about damn time that we had a Native American woman in the Senate. And so we are in the final 26 days, oh my goodness, before the election. Now, a lot of people think an election is something that happens in November. Absolutely, it is. But you have to have a primary election before that when there are more than one candidates running from the same party. And so Peggy is a DFLer, and she's running in the DFL primary against Congresswoman Angie Craig. And that election is on August 11th. And so the big thing is that we need people to vote. Early voting is actually open right now. So people can vote now. They can go to mnvotes.org and look up how they can vote in person now before the election, all of which is to get back to what you introduced me to talk about, Robert, which is the many versus the money event. Peggy has been endorsed in this candidate by Senator Bernie Sanders, along with our great Attorney General Keith Ellison and Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. And Bernie Sanders is all in on Peggy's campaign, and he's coming on Monday here, just 5 days from now. He'll be at First Avenue for an event. And part of this is in the final stretch, these final 3 weeks of the election, 3+ weeks before the election, we have to get people motivated and out to vote. And the meaning behind the many versus the money is so apt right now. And Bernie Sanders talks all the time about the need. We have to get corporate influence out of Washington. Corporations have all the power in Washington. That's why laws are written that don't necessarily help people, they help corporations. And Peggy is all in on that as well. And she's been campaigning for more than a year, more than 250 events to do that. And the big thing here in this race, in this DFL primary, is that she's not taking a dime of corporate PAC money. And Angie Craig is, to the tune, Robert, of $14 million in ads for Angie. You've probably seen them, maybe on your streaming, on your TV. They're everywhere. And they're plastering everywhere these ads that are, first of all, just false. There's a lot of lies in those ads, but it's a 10-to-1 spend on ads. And that is at the heart of it, because those ads are paid for by big oil, APAC, AI, billionaires, crypto, insurance companies. And so when you think about things like what Bernie Sanders has long supported and what Peggy supports, Medicare for all. It is long past time Medicare for all. Well, Peggy can support that with no problem because she doesn't take any money from corporations. Angie Craig takes money from insurance companies all day long. And so she's not for Medicare for all. She tries to trick you by saying Medicare for all who want it, but that's a trick. And so that's what the rally is about on Monday. It's to say, look, Peggy is the person for this moment. Peggy represents the many, not the money. And if we are ever going to prove, Robert, that we can win, if we're ever going to get this dark money, these corporate interests out of our politics, we have to prove that we can win without it. And that's what Peggy is doing. And that's where she needs everyone's help. We need your help. We need you to vote. We need you to sign up, come to this event. We actually, next week, there's 2 events. We're starting it off with Bernie Sanders on Monday. And then next Friday, Elizabeth Warren's coming to town, also supporting Peggy. So you can go to peggyflanagan.com, and at the top, there's one of the tabs says events, and you can sign up for that. And while you're there, you can order a lawn sign. You can maybe donate a few bucks, but you can also find out how to vote, because we need people to get in and vote as soon as possible. That was a long answer, Robert, and I appreciate your patience.
No, I love it. And Tom, I just really want to amplify, because I just get so irritated, because I love going to YouTube and kind of watching some explanations of shows or old videos or whatever, and the first thing that pops up is an Angie Craig ad, and I'm just so sick of it, so sick of the lies. And also, too, one of the things I really want to amplify is that you guys are always looking for help too when it comes to phone work, door knocking. Can you give us a quick way that we can help Peggy that way?
That's right. And if you look under my name here, Peggy Flanagan for U.S. Senate, that's how you spell Flanagan. Sometimes people don't get it right. But if you go to peggyflanagan.com, again, I mentioned in the top, you can pick the events button for that Elizabeth Warren rally. And then you can also click at the top volunteer. We need people to make phone calls. I was just on a call last night with some great volunteers who are just calling around the state. We're calling people to remind them. Having an election in August is hard. We always do in Minnesota because of that primary. But people have to remember, like, so for example, if you know you're going to be away on August 11th for, one last vacation before school starts or whatever, that's why it's important now to make that plan to vote, because we have a really great system for early voting in Minnesota, and we're really encouraging people to use it. And so that's what those phone calls are for. Please vote for Peggy. Here's how you can do it. We can help you through all of that. We need people to make phone calls. We need people to go knock on doors and talk to their neighbors about why this election is important to them and why they think Peggy is the right person for the moment. And then while you're there, if you can, there's another tab that says store. You can buy a Peggy t-shirt, but you can also buy a Peggy lawn sign. Put a lawn sign in your yard and fly that flag proudly as well.
Yeah, that's great. And I can't wait. We're going to make it there. We're going to probably do a little magic with the station when it comes to doing it live from there, maybe call into the station. But the producer, as you met Misko, the producer, she'll be there with me. And we can't wait to cover this.
And I forgot to mention, it's at First Ave, so we have a cool venue too, which is really, really awesome. Peggy, we all have our First Avenue stories, our First Ave stories, so we're really looking forward to it. And Bernie Sanders has been great. And listen, you've seen, if you've been watching politics this year, Bernie Sanders is supporting a lot of other candidates around the country too, and some of those primary elections have happened. And Bernie's got a very good winning record here with the candidates he supports. And so Bernie's invested. He's like, we have to get Peggy across the finish line. And if you think about the Senate as a place where there's 100 senators, I don't want to alarm you here, Robert, but not everyone has the same value set or thinks the same way about issues as Bernie Sanders. So Bernie needs some friends, and Elizabeth Warren needs some friends. And that's how you build power. That's how you build power. You gain one senator here, one senator there, and pretty soon you're able to make some votes on things that wouldn't have passed ordinarily in the past.
Tom, thank you so much. I know you're so busy, and you're working, and then you're working on the campaign. I really appreciate you stopping in for a few minutes and really talking about the Many Over the Money rally with Bernie Sanders and Peggy Flanagan. And it looks like Keith Ellison and Ilhan will be there.
Ilhan Omar. Yep. PeggyFlanagan.com. Also go to the social media for Peggy's campaign. We have all the information there about the event. Also sign up for Elizabeth Warren if you want to come next Friday, if you're not available Monday. Thank you, Robert.
Right on. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Hey, we'll be right back with Robert Lilligren. This is Native Roots Radio.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Culture prevents so many negative things from happening to us as individuals and as communities.
Strong roots begin with a healthy heart. For Indigenous women, heart health is part of caring for community, culture, and future generations. Even small steps can help protect what matters most. Discover ways to support your heart at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats, because your heart beats for generations. I heard sex trafficking happens a lot in Indian country. What is that?
Here are some of the real reasons why sex trafficking happens in Indian country. Unequal gender roles that were forced on us by colonization. Communities don't have enough resources. Silence around domestic and sexual violence. Lack of attention and justice for missing and murdered Indigenous people. There's a lot of behavior that keeps our communities out of balance. These are just a few true reasons why Native communities are targeted by traffickers. When these acts of violence happen in our communities, it opens us all up for exploitation.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovated Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
I'm Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan, and I want to be your next United States Senator, and you are listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone. This is Robert Pilot, and really great to hear from Tom, and I can't wait for the Many Over the Money rally with Bernie Sanders, Peggy Flanagan, Ilham Omar, and Keith Ellison, amongst many. We have our friend Robert Lilligren, a Native American Community Development Institute CEO, and just our go-to person. Hey, I like that shirt, Robert. Oh, wow.
Yeah, thanks. Nice, huh? A good friend gave it to me.
Right on, right on. Looks great. Hey, lot going on. I don't know where to start other than the weather and global warming. It's just, I've never seen anything like this in my lifetime.
Never. And so for folks who don't know, there's some major fires in northern Minnesota, straddling the border of Minnesota and Canada. It's an area called the Boundary Waters. It's sort of this pristine wilderness, and the impacts due to the extreme heat we have here. We've had heat indexes over 100 degrees all week, winds. And so these fires, I just saw an article come up that the conditions for fighting the fires are starting to improve a little, but smoke has now come down from northern Minnesota. And here in Minneapolis, we have incredibly poor air quality. We're still in the hazardous area of air quality, and it's like we're living, it's foggy. It's like if you look out your window, it's foggy. So there are all kinds of health alerts and things. Most people just aren't going outside, at all. It's just not safe.
Yeah, I didn't, and it was hazardous, and now it's healthy or unhealthy. And to me, being a cool kid in the 60s and 70s, I smoked a lot, so I have to stay away from a lot of this.
Smart. And for me, I mean, there's the older you get, the more vulnerable you are. And, I pretty much check every box of a at-risk person. And so, oh yeah, we have moved into unhealthy from hazardous. So yay.
Yeah.
But it's bad. I mean, you step outside and you feel like you're in the middle of a forest fire. And we have our unsheltered relatives. A lot of the native orcs have opened up their facilities just as cooling centers and sort of, they don't call them this, but like breathing centers, right? Jeez. Places that you can go in. And, I've spent maybe a total of 10 minutes outside today just doing some stuff around the house. And I can just totally feel it. And, I'm privileged to have a decent air filter system and good sealant, but everything just kind of smells like smoke. And we'll see this air quality alert is on until tomorrow. So hopefully we'll get through that. And then the extreme temperature warning is through tomorrow as well. It's not the weather we grew up with at all. And it's the worst air quality on record. I've seen a few sources that said Minnesota, Minneapolis had the worst air quality of any major city in the world today. And so this is bad.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I want to just jump back this weekend. Really appreciated you opening up the Peggy Flanagan, and we just had Tom Weber on, as you probably know, and opening up the rally and in a good way, introducing the guests and the speakers, and just want to give you a quick shout out on that. That was awesome, and it was awesome to be there, and awesome to. I like that word awesome all of a sudden, but it was great.
Yeah. No, that was really a lovely rally on Saturday for our whiter sister, Peggy Flanagan, our lieutenant governor here in Minnesota, who's running to be the first Native woman ever to serve in the U.S. Senate. and she is just brilliant. And I've been involved in her politics and political career since her first race back in 2004 for Minneapolis School Board, and have just watched her grow in her ability to represent. And she's just this really unique person who she's so authentic, so genuine, and she listens to people. She listens to hear what their concerns are. And then better than any politician I've ever seen in my life, and I've known quite a few, is she can translate that into action, right? And she really believes that she can make, how that she can work to make people's lives better, which she has proven as a elected official for now, 2 decades. And both at the local level, at the state level, she was a legislator, and then now as lieutenant governor, and she'll just be if I can say this, a kick-ass senator. And oops. And I'm really excited to see her move in. And she's just very genuine. She's not taking any political action committee PAC money. She's raising her money, from the people. That's why I love this theme of the many over the money, right? Yeah. I think that really well describes the race she's in for the Democratic nomination. And I'm looking forward to the upcoming rally.
Yeah, me too. We're gonna try and get out there and do maybe a little live thing from there, because
cool.
happening during the show, and just to support. And geez, it reminds me, and I think you were there too, when Tina Smith was running for the same seat after being lieutenant governor. Bernie came and spoke at First Avenue too. So hopefully lightning's going to strike twice in the same place.
Let's hope, right? And, Tina Smith, our current junior senator from the state of Minnesota, was lieutenant governor. She was the best until Peggy Flanagan came around. I'm a little biased, came along. She was the best staying lieutenant governor and working. She was lieutenant governor to Governor Dayton, Mark Dayton, and she really helped sort of define that role as more of a co-governing model. And the Waltz Flanagan administration has continued with that. And so Peggy's had some great experience at the executive level of governing, but it does kind of feel the same. I will say that. And, fingers crossed that it's the same pathway that Senator Tina Smith followed. And then there's a lot of movement in Minnesota politics right now. And so our senior senator, Amy Klobuchar, is the front runner for the governor in the governor's race, right? So it's very likely that when Peggy wins this year, she'll go in as the junior senator, but very quickly become the senior senator from Minnesota. And then we'll have an opportunity to fill another seat. And so folks know all statewide constitutional offices in Minnesota are held by Democrats. So we feel we're kind of a purple state operationally, but really from a statewide electoral perspective, we're solid blue.
Yeah, definitely. And the things that are happening nationally too. And I just got to mention this, and I hope to hear a good chuckle from you, but the orange one has anointed the pillow guy.
Right.
It's his
My
pick
pillow.
for governor.
Right, which I think just helps Democrats, right? I mean, he's going to drag the whole Republican ticket down. And, we've seen everything. It seems like everything this president touches, goes down, turns to crap, right? And so hopefully that'll be consistent with the Minnesota governor's race. And I don't know why he felt the need to get involved. And you reference, you look at some of these bellwether elections, that have been happening nationally, and candidates like Peggy Flanagan are winning elections nationally. And I think it really shows that the national electorate is looking for change, is looking for more people-centered governance. We have this incredibly corrupt White House administration. I mean, it's beyond anything I ever thought I would see in my life. We have this power in Washington, D.C. that's so incredibly selfish. They just want, the success of the few at the expense of the pain of the many. I mean, I think people are just tired of that, and we need to see a change. And I really feel that Peggy Flanagan is the candidate to help bring that change. And Dallas Goldtooth also spoke at this rally on Saturday, which was lovely and very entertaining. And he's very smart, right? He's a smart guy. And he was really straight up with folks there. It was at the Minneapolis American Indian Center. And he said, one election isn't going to change everything and isn't going to make all the difference. And he said, but it's an important thing to do, and I thought that was really a smart perspective. One person isn't going to change the whole Washington, D.C. Power structure, but at least we'll have a place at the table, right? And we'll have a Native voice in the mix.
Well, and you being a former community, before you were elected, a community person, and he's a community person, boots on the ground. I always got to tell him that when Standing Rock was happening, the Dakota Access Pipeline, I really appreciated his daily updates of what was going on, because we were bringing students out there, we were bringing supplies, and it was hairy out there, but he really is a community worker.
He is, and I'm glad that you brought that up. So yes, during Standing Rock, which was such a pivotal moment in this country, it was good to know what was going on the inside. Spending time there was profoundly impacted me and my work. But going back, so I was very grassroots kind of community organizer, community activist. Then I ran for and got elected to the Minneapolis City Council, the first Native person ever elected to office in Minneapolis. And that profoundly changed my trajectory and where I've gone. But I've never really felt that I lost that sense of being a grassroots community activist. And I think you can carry that into these power structures. Dallas does it. Peggy does it. I like to feel that I do it. So yeah, it's an exciting time.
Hey, we're here with Robert Lilligren, and we're going to take a quick break. This is Native Roots Radio. Ho-wah.
Maintaining our health, particularly our heart health, is very important to us as a family.
Your heart gives you time with family, time with community, time to pass down what matters. Protecting your heart helps keep those moments alive. A visit with a healthcare provider can be one step toward a healthier future. Learn more at hennepincounty.gov/hearts-beats. Your heart health is essential because your heart beats for generations. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovated Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
When we heal from our traumas,
When we face our fears,
let go of our addictions,
when we relearn our values,
when we live our teachings,
respecting our elders,
cherishing and honoring our children,
when we honor and take care of our spirit,
there will be no room left for sexual violence.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis AIR. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
This is Chase Iron Eyes announcing a new show on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, powered by Native Roots Radio. The show is called Native American Patriot Talk Radio. What will we do on the show? We are going to explore and dive into the source of American constitutional sovereignty, the intersection of Native American and legal issues. Find us the first and third Tuesday of every month at 6 p.m. on AM 950.
Hey, it's Patrick for Zero Res. There's a lot happening in July. It's America's 250th birthday. Aquatennial is also coming to Minneapolis later this month. You've also got beach days, fishing days, time spent on the playground with the kids. So what are you coming home to at night in terms of your carpet cleanliness? If the answer to that is questionable or worse, then you need my cleaning heroes at Zero Res to come help get things in order this summer. If your carpet's looking more like a snowbank in late March, muddy, crunchy, and kind of mysterious, it's time to call Zero Res. This month, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $139 and get your air duct cleaned starting at $599 per unit. Schedule your appointment at ZeroResMinnesota.com or call 9520-RES and say you want the AM 950 special. Back order forward spells the same. Zero Res. With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. An air quality alert remains in effect. Tonight, clear with a low of 72, then Friday, hot sunshine with a high of 95. Treat yourself to the finest French macarons around at Nicolette's Macarons. Nicolette's is located off Highway 169 at 36th Avenue along the Plymouth New Hope City line. Visit the store or order your box online at nicolettesmacarons.com.
AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot. Hey, welcome back, everyone, and I am Robert Pilot, and we are with Robert Lilligren, CEO of Native American Community Development Institute here in the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, and love talking politics, and later on we're going to talk about the great things Native American Community Development Institute does, but right now, there's so much going on, Robert. Tonight, not all the stations are playing this live, and I really appreciate to hear that. The mainstream media's got to wake up here soon, and hopefully this is the beginning, because this conspiracy thing, you know, it's interesting. They talk about, you know, how the elections, you know, in 2020 especially was, you know, illegal, done wrong, but yet they have the president, they have the House, they have the Senate right now, and I mean, they just don't make sense, Robert.
None of it makes sense, Robert. I agree. And so tonight, our president is scheduled to do a primetime address the nation, which, you know, historically has been kind of a big deal. It's at 9 o'clock Eastern time, so 8 o'clock our time, and as far as I can tell, most major networks aren't even going to carry it, because it's, so far what we understand is it's going to be an address that questions the results of the 2020 elections. He is likely to claim that the 2 senators from Georgia, were Democratic senators, were not really elected. I mean, all this malarkey that has been disproven over and over again. Data shows the percentage of voter fraud in this country is extremely low, extremely rare. I mean, it's in the 0.0000 something percentage. And so this is just some kind of delusional fantasy of a deranged, you know, president. And so in my opinion, I'm not going to watch it. I mean, what's the point? No. I don't want to sit and be lied to, you know, through a whole presidential address. And so yeah, it's going to be weird. Everything is kind of weird in our federal government right now.
Yeah, well, just hopefully there's not going to be a precursor of actions against people voting and getting ice at the election things. Hopefully that's not what he's going to be talking about tonight, too.
I don't know if I'll be talking about that, but as we've talked about before, I mean, here, and I'm sure in other communities in other states, we're very much preparing to rapidly respond to whatever kind of federal intervention we have in our voting as we approach the midterms. We fully expect something's going to happen. We might not 100% know what that is. But as I talked about on Saturday at the Flanagan rally at the Minneapolis American Indian Center, we don't know what the federal government's going to throw at us, but they're going to throw something at us. What we showed during the ICE occupation earlier this year is we're ready. We can respond. Our networks are in place. We're incredibly organized. And I get the sense that some of the other targeted communities, some of the swing states and others, Maine, for example, I feel like they've been putting the organizational infrastructure in place to rapidly respond to whatever the federal government does.
Have you been watching? And I've only seen clips. I don't have time to sit and watch this, but where they're grilling the person that's going to try and be the director of national intelligence, and be able to ask. And there was another one too, to ask him if the 2020 election was correct, and
who won the 2020 election? That was the question.
Yeah.
So Jay Clayton, the nominee for the director of national intelligence, would not respond. And it was John Ossoff, the senator from Georgia, one of these, senators that Trump's going to claim was illegally elected. He was one that grilled him, and it was brilliant. If folks get a chance to watch it, I mean, Ossoff is very direct. First, he establishes with Jay Clayton, the nominee, is your role is to be frank and honest, or something. I can't remember, something like that.
Yeah, right.
And so Clayton agreed, but then he would not answer the question: who won the 2020 election? Simple question, right? And so that was brilliant. I mean, I think that's really gonna raise Ossoff's profile. I mean, as we move toward a new presidential election, is there someone else in there? But yeah, the fact that someone is going to be who wants to be the director of national intelligence can't answer a simple question like who won the 2020 election, it just shows how the reach that this president has and how he controls these people. It's cult-like, right? It's cult-like. It's a simple question. It's verifiable fact. Just answer it. And this Clayton would not answer. He refused multiple times.
Well, what's amazing too is it's cult-like, but also finally we're getting the numbers that we should be having. And I think there was just a poll, and it was just came out, and wasn't it 70 to 28% or something like that the president's not doing a good job. And we know that, but the 28% is always going to be there. The 30%, the MAGA, and they're loud too. It seems like there's more of them, but there aren't.
Right.
They're not holding on to what's going on.
Agree. And you can connect these dots, for me anyway, back to these folks have always been there, right? But they're particularly empowered right now. I traced it back to the Contract for America and the so-called moral majority, and they're not 100% reality based. They're super selfish, right? They feel like if they're succeeding, then the country's succeeding, and they have no concern for the rest of the country. And now I just feel like there's a little bit of a sea change. And you look at what happened with the $1 trillion defense bill, where the Democrats in the Senate were able to block it, right? So they're finally, in my opinion, sort of behaving like an organized opposition party, right? If you can't win, at least you can keep the other side from winning. And I feel like there's been a lot of capitulation in Congress, and so it's really good to see now this unified approach. And so I expect we'll see more of that as we approach the midterms. And just going back to your earlier our earlier conversation about what's going to happen, what is the federal intervention in our midterm elections going to look like? And we have this Tom Homan, who is the border czar and the temporary ICE director, and he essentially said, comply, behave, or we're going to shoot more people. I mean, that isn't a direct quote, but it's a threat. I mean, he literally threatened people for standing up, opposing these federal ICE occupations. And I mean, we've been ground zero on that here in Minneapolis, and it's like, yeah, we're not going to do that. We're not going to. I'm not going to go quietly, and I think most people in Minnesota aren't going to go quietly. We're peaceful. We operate within our rights. In the Native community, we're certainly prayerful on our response, but we're not going to comply.
And the things that happened this week in Maine, and how people have activated right away, it reminds me a lot of what we taught the country here in Minneapolis and the Twin Cities on how to deal with things like that, like murder, ICE, and it's just appalling.
It's appalling. It's not like anything I ever thought I would see. 2 of the 11 murder victims of ICE are from here, right? Renee Good, Alex Preddy, right? And so we've seen it firsthand. I mean, it's brutal. It's un-American. It's illegal the way that ICE is behaving. But I just received a message recently. People are really looking to learn from what we did here and how to respond in their communities. With the latest 2 murders this week, I mean, it's incredible. And so, if someone asked me, my advice would be, it's organize, of course, stand in solidarity, things like that, but it's really remain peaceful. And we had plenty of planted agitators here in Minneapolis and in Minnesota during the ICE occupation who wanted it to turn violent, right? We saw that after George Floyd's murder. It was the outside agitators that started the violence, right? That started the riots. So it's remaining peaceful is so critical. Firm, stern, grim in some ways, but peaceful, and we'll get through this together. It's the many, right? It's the people, right? It's the many over the money.
Well, and I know you guys don't want to talk about this now, but I know there's plans too, because we don't know what the federal government's going to do about our voting here. And sometimes I get a little leery too, because sometimes it seems like our police officers that are supposed to protect us almost lean and protected ICE, and it's just really convoluted. So I know there's plans out there how we can protect our voting citizens, and so that's things going on behind closed doors that I'm not privy to, but I know there's plans.
Right, and I'm not really privy. I'm privy to some of the planning, because at NACDI, our organization, we have Make Voting a Tradition, and we're part of a local, regional, and national network that is planning in a whole new way, right? We have to plan for polling place security and voter safety, things we've never really had to plan for before. And at least look, I mean, the optics get so confusing and convoluted, but for my relationships within local law enforcement, that's Minneapolis police, I physically within the 3rd precinct, for most of the Native folks live 3rd police precinct. The police were pretty clear. They're not cooperating with federal law enforcement and not being directed to cooperate either. And if they're present at all, it's just to ensure safety of people. And so now we're having to get, more nuanced in our understanding of law enforcement and the relationships.
Hey, we're here with Robert Lilligren, and we're just having our friendly Thursday chat. More to come. Would love to talk updates on what's happening with Native American Community Development Institute, which just is a shining light in our community, and all the things that happen there. And so we'll be back after a short break. Please stay with us. This is Native Roots Radio. Oh, wow. Hey, it's Robert Pilot from Native Roots Radio. For a meal that feeds your soul and health, check out Gatherings Cafe. Located in the renovative Minneapolis American Indian Center, Executive Chef Vernon Defoe and team serve up incredible indigenous flavors. Gatherings Cafe has amazing bison tacos featuring lean protein from native wise, corn tortillas, and homemade sides. It's fresh, local food rooted in ancestral knowledge. Stop by for breakfast or lunch. That's Gatherings Cafe, where tradition meets innovation.
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. AIR stands for American Indian Relations. Guest host Christine McDonald talks to people about important things affecting the city's Native communities. Minneapolis AIR dives into topics like public safety, public health, elections, and so much more. Tune in to Minneapolis AIR on Native Roots Radio from 5 to 6 p.m. on the second Wednesday of every month, right here on AM 950.
Unwanted sexting or photos, inappropriate jokes, even tickling or wrestling can feel like a violation. Catcalling, cornering, or groping, getting them drunk or high for sex, recording sexual acts without permission, hurting someone because of their sexual orientation, raping a family member, a child, a date, a friend, a stranger, purchasing a human being for sex. You make the choice every single time. Sexual violence is many things. Make a choice. Do not do it.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Heart health is more than just the physical well-being. It represents like a foundation of vitality, resilience, and the ability to live fully.
Your heart carries stories of resilience, love, and survival. Caring for your heart means honoring yourself and the generations before and after you. It means protecting your ability to gather, laugh, and be present. Learn more about your heart health at hennepincounty.gov/heart-beats, because your story matters and your heart beats for generations.
Hi, it's Dr. Evan Adams, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. Hey, Victor, you better be listening.
In this portion of the show, we'd like to bring awareness to our wolf and bear populations throughout Turtle Island. Say no to the hunts.
I always love, welcome back to Native Roots Radio. I always love where you hear Wendy kind of do the bear roar. Laugh every time. It's just crazy. Hey, I'm here with Robert, and we're all here with Robert Lilligren, our White Earth Ojibwe relative and president and CEO of Native American Community Development Institute. A lot going on. I know the weather and the smoke and things like that have called off a few things, but, you know, just give our audience, maybe the audience that are just listening for the first time, a little overview of this organization that you work with.
Yeah, thanks, Robert. So it's Native American Community Development Institute, NACDI. We're an asset-based community development intermediary, right? We're kind of the people side of community development. Our mission is to help the Native community identify its vision and then move toward it, and to provide tools. And so we work at capacity building at the individual and community level. And fundamentally, we're a change agent, right? So we have these projects and programs that keep us authentically based in the community around issues of food sovereignty. We have our Four Sisters Farmers Market, our Four Sisters Urban Farm, around arts and culture. Kind of the centerpiece project is our All My Relations Arts Gallery, which is a premier contemporary Native arts gallery in the region. And then in civic engagement with our Make Voting a Tradition. So that keeps us grounded in community. And then we work to change systems, right? Whether those are public sector governmental systems, just non-Native institutions, corporations even, and really with the vision of teaching non-Native institutions how to engage with the Native people on our terms. Not just get us, into your organization so you can check a box or something like that. And so it's really, really rewarding work.
It seems like, too, it's national. People know about you guys all over the country, because every time I'm coming by the office, there's people coming from the outstate and getting tours of Franklin Avenue, the Native corridor, and what you guys do and what you have been doing.
Well, thanks. And to be clear, it's not just us, but you're right. A lot of different, sometimes it's government. We recently did a big tour with representatives from the regional government, from Sacramento. I mean, just these kind of interesting groups that, because of our profile, because of the profile of some of the people that work at NACDI, like Angela Two Stars and others, people are just aware of us, right? And we occupy, as far as sort of nonprofit organizations go, we occupy kind of an interesting space, right? We're kind of in between community and the systems. And so I feel like we're doing the work we're supposed to be doing, but you're right. It's kind of an interesting mix of people who are interested in our work, who are interested in the American Indian Cultural Corridor. But to be super clear, it's not NACDI doing all of this. We just have the privilege of being in that relationship space.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just an amazing thing. I love going on Franklin Avenue, the corridor. The Native American Community Clinic is building up there, and then
Yeah, that's gorgeous. The Indian Center,
and then down the street,
yeah,
it's just amazing. And I know you always give like credit to the ones before us, like Clyde and
Oh, for
American
sure.
Indian Movement. Can you talk just a little bit about those icons?
Oh, for sure. So, of course, people know the American Indian Movement was founded here, very near where the American Indian Cultural Corridor is sort of on the American Indian Cultural Corridor. And two of the primary objectives of AIM were, one, to base the progress on restoring, re-embracing culture, language, tradition, family ways, spirituality. And another was to establish agencies to help us move toward that objective. And so we really live and operate within the legacy of those elders. I call them the founders. You know, we're losing a lot of them lately. They're walking on. And so for people like us, you know, are kind of generational bridges, it's like, what do we do with this legacy? How do we not squander it, but really leverage it into ongoing progress and really bringing the next generations along? And it's very important to me at this point in my life and career to be bringing others along. And then right now, and I don't know if we've talked about this, but I've been talking a lot about it with others, is that someone at my point of life, I just turned 66 a week or so ago, and you know, how am I stepping out to make room for the next generation leadership that's emerging? And they are ready, man. It's really their future now. So how am I, or how are we supporting them into leadership?
Yeah, absolutely. And a matter of fact, we have a producer here in the background here, Misko, who's one that I really love to see take over all these things, because I'm the same age as you, and we have to look forward to the next generation and really hand it off in a good way. And I see, you don't see this, but she's in the background, and she's wearing the exact same shirt I am.
Okay, I love it. I was going to comment on your shirt. So that's this year's version of the Make Voting a Tradition t-shirt. We do a different version every, here's Misko. Nice. I like it. It looks good, Misko. And but this has been probably our most popular one. And I think it's our first tie-dye. And we try to pick significant colors every year. But this one was to represent water, which through research with Native voters, we've identified water, the environment, caring for Mother Earth is a primary reason Native people get out and vote. And so we're really trying to elevate that and to leverage that into motivating Native people to vote. And that was the purpose behind the t-shirt you're wearing. And I will say, I think it's been our most popular t-shirt. And they're pretty popular overall, but that's our most popular.
It makes my eyes pop, my brown eyes pop with the blue background.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Hey, I want to put up what Misko put out on the interwebs.
I love it. And let's get out the vote, right? And
definitely.
Yeah, one of the interesting parts of our Make Voting a Tradition, MVAT we call it, has been partnering with national organizations and then with artists, Native artists, to really do research about what motivates Native people to vote. And we've done some really fascinating things. Environment is a huge one. Another thing we've learned is that women in their households and families get the other family members to vote. And so focusing on women and especially women heads of household, And the other is sort of bookending it, focusing on young people who are either voting for the first time or just going to age into voting, and then elders who can help kind of move their households, their families along. And so it's not, I mean, it's organizing fundamentally, but it's also adding data and research to informing what motivates Native people to vote.
Wow. Yeah, great. And I got to remind everyone too, it's a nonprofit. So you aren't talking about certain political things, but I'll tell you, the 2 cycles ago, I know Make Voting a Tradition and a couple other organizations got 8,000 new voters up north on the tribes, brand new voters, never registered. And that made a big difference. And I believe that's why it's so important that somebody like Tom Weber or you come on this show and speak your truth.
Love it. Yep. We're a nonprofit, so it's nonpartisan. So any opinions here are mine. I want to be really clear. They're not necessarily me.
Yeah. Well, Robert, thank you as always so much. Great show. Really appreciate you and appreciate the work that your organization does and all the work that you've done over the years for our community. Really appreciate you.
Miigwech for your kind words and for having me on.
Right on. Hey, this is Native Roots Radio. We'll see you tomorrow. Ho!
The city of Minneapolis is now on Native Roots Radio with Minneapolis Air. AIR stands